Welcome to the ExecMBA podcast. I'm Brett Twitty, Director of Admissions for the Executive Formats of the Darden MBA, and you are listening to a new episode. So on this episode, I'd like to return to an ongoing conversation that we are having with some of our first-year students, Jonas Porcar-Ferrer and Bhavin Patel, about their experience in the program. Hopefully, by now, you've had a chance to check out our first conversation. We recorded that during quarter one and recently sat down with them. They are now in quarter three. Bhavin has been on the Brazil Global Residency. Jonas has been through a few more weekend residencies. And we sat down to talk a little bit more about how things are going, how they're balancing school and life and work, as well as what they've enjoyed about the program so far. So, without further ado, here's my conversation with Jonas and Bhavin. Jonas, Bhavin, welcome back.
Hi.
Hey, Brett. Nice to be back.
All right. So, you're further along now, quarter three, fresh off of quarter two. I think it's worth mentioning you're roughly 33% of the way through the program. Do you feel 33% of the way through the program?
I wouldn't say so. It feels like we still have a long way, but yeah, it's 1/3 already. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I agree with Jonas there. When I look at my calendar earlier this morning, it looks like 30% done, but doesn't feel like it because we still have a long ways to go and a lot more to learn.
So you just wrapped up quarter two, and I'm sure some of our listeners are wondering, okay, so quarter two, they may know it's a global quarter, and by global quarter, we mean a global residency is offered in that quarter. So, Bhavin, as we discussed in the first episode that you did, you're a GEMBA format student. Jonas, you're an EMBA format student. So let's talk about what your respective quarter twos look like. So let's start with you, Jonas.
Okay.
You did not travel on the global residency.
I didn't.
So for our listeners at home, which global residency will you be doing?
I'll be going to India in November, so
All right.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, quarter eight. So you got a ways.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. And so what did quarter two look like for you?
Well, it was a little bit different because our classmates in the GEMBA format, the ones that chose Brazil, were away. So the cohort felt a little bit different because there was a mix between the Roslyn base and Charlottesville base. So it was great because we had the opportunity to network and meet these other guys that are in Charlottesville. So that was great. At the same time, it felt like I missed particularly the guys that went to Brazil, Bhavin included. And we had new learning teams. So that was a great opportunity also to know how to work with these other classmates. And in terms of classes that we had accounting, we had a course on leadership, leader organizations. We also kicked off action learning, which is a method to solve problems that is used in organizations. And the only difference between us and the GEMBA students was that we had this class on explorations on enterprise leadership. In this case, in this quarter, was focused on the healthcare sector.
Yeah, so much to unpack there. So you had a class that's called EEL. Mm-hmm. Bhavin had a class called Global Leadership Exploration, GLE. So get into that a little bit more. One of the things that both of you may know for the class of 2021 is that both sections will be based here. And so some of the mixing that you talked about in the global quarter will kind of organically happen just because of the nature of having everyone here during the weekend residencies in the domestic quarters, and obviously some mixing still in the global quarters depending on who's traveling and who's not. And so, Bhavin, you went to Brazil. On that trip, we're all GEMBA format students. There's 34 of you in the class of 2020, and some EMBA students who chose Brazil as their global residency. They participate as an EMBA format student. You do one of the 4 global residencies, option to do 2. So, how was the trip?
Oh, the trip was amazing. Exceeded all my expectations. When you start the program, you hear about global residency and the amount of work you have to do in preparation, for that, because it's a short period of time. You're going there for about 6-7 days, and I have a family, and most of us do kids and other significant others, and leaving them and managing your workload while you're away. It's a big responsibility in a major undertaking. So. But while I was there, because I had prepared in advance, and we'll get into time management in a bit, but because I was prepared, I was really able to take advantage of everything that the GLE, the Global Leadership and Experience, had to offer. We were in Brazil for 7 days, and just to kind of give you some logistics information is, we're in a city called Sao Paulo. We started off in Sao Paulo. We were there for about 2 days. Then one day we had a travel day, which we traveled from Sao Paulo to Rio. And in between traveling, we made a stop in another city where we had site visits lined up for us, and then we went to Rio. So when we started the GLE, we have a lot of coursework in accounting, leading organization, as well as GLE. But that's also there are also opportunities for us to explore the city, be it Sao Paulo or Rio. Also, get a chance to really understand the culture, because we also had speakers. In Rio, we had speakers from Ernst & Young who told us about the infrastructure development projects that they undertook in preparation for the Olympics that took place in Rio in summer of 2016. And we also had a couple of visits lined up. We went to Embraer, which is a Brazilian aerospace company, which recently Boeing just bought a stake in. We were able to talk to the program director and see the assembly lines firsthand. And this is something you don't get to do, if you're going to, a city or a country by yourself. So the school has great contacts at all these locations and companies, which you're able to leverage. We also went to a GM plant near Sao Paulo, and I visited a different automotive company plant here, so I was able to kind of compare and contrast how they manufacture cars there. And our third company visit was at AES, which is a global energy company, and they have offices worldwide, and we were able to see firsthand what they're doing to differentiate themselves, to better compete, in the energy market. So overall, we had a lot of company visits, a lot of great content and casework, that we were able to learn from. And also, to complement that, and we also visited Christ the Redeemer statue, beautiful beaches, in Rio, that I missed till date in this cold weather while we were recording. So overall, I think it was a very, very fun experience.
So when I listened to you describe that, it feels like you must have been there for about 30 days. But it turns out just a week. Sunday to Saturday or so. And for our listeners at home, we were talking about this before we got started, I have to throw in there, in case you're wondering if life happens while people are in this program. Bhavin, upon return from Brazil, share with our listeners what happened with your family.
So I get off the plane and I call my wife. She was pregnant, and I call her, and the baby was not due till later in December, and I call her, and she's in hospital in labor, and so I'm going there, going to the hospital directly from the airport, and I've been sleep deprived 24 hours, and go to the hospital, and within a few hours, baby boy is born. So it was a lot of excitement back to back. I'm just glad I didn't miss the delivery portion of it, because I know I would have heard from my wife all my life. So overall, it was just a great experience, to come back from Brazil and be blessed with the boy.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome. And when we say share the class calendar with people in your life, we do not anticipate that newborns are aware of it, but obviously perhaps had a sense that, this is a good day, be back from the global residency. So Jonas, I want to talk a little bit about EEL. Sure. This is a class that can take many different forms. You looked at healthcare. What exactly did that involve?
Well, it was very interesting for me coming from a different country, and one of the things that really strikes you when you get to the U.S. is how different the healthcare sector is, and we are all somehow related. I mean, customers of this sector, being patients at least. So it's a very complex system, and thanks to this course, we were able to dissect it, look at the different players in the industry. Actually, there's one of the cases had a role-playing activity, so we had to take we had to play as one of the either patients or payers or providers. So when facing a situation, being able to understand the different takes from the different players was really helpful. Also, the different trends in the industry, the challenges that it faces. It's growing really fast. One of the fastest growing industries in the country, and also looking at it from the perspective of innovation. And I'm not talking just about technology, which it's also about how to look at the sector from a different perspective, how to do innovations on the way we deliver healthcare to the patients. And we got speakers, Darden alumni also, like that currently work as executives in the sector. So it was very, very practical and we learned a lot about this emerging sector in the US.
Yeah, roughly 16% or so of the U.S. economy is tied up in healthcare, and you're right, we're all patients.
So I just want to add something. So as Jonas, discussed what he learned while he was here at the residency in Brazil, we had a class called Leading Organization, which was led by Lynn Isabella, and she did a tremendous job. And this class, just kind of give you, a brief 30,000 level picture. It talks about, goes into detail about how we can, how to become a better leader and what things you have to keep in mind with the world becoming, with the business becoming more and more global and as you lead, as you work or even, lead in a multinational firm. What are some of the things that you have to keep in mind as you, progress in your career? So to me, I definitely found that class very, very rewarding. Not to say that accounting and the other course was not rewarding, and they equally were. It's just I have a affinity towards soft skills, and this class really, really helped me, really think through some of the challenges that one would face in a global organization.
Yeah, this is where you see a little bit of the similarities, right? Mm-hmm. So you're both the global residencies are delivered during the core. And so you both had the same core classes, which were leading organizations and accounting.
Yeah.
And then the difference was the domestic classes, EEL, which Jonas talked about, and then GLE. And so if you're looking for more detail on that, I will put in a quick plug for the Discover Darden blog. When we profiled the blog, the trips to both Brazil and India. While you were in Brazil, we actually had 2019s. In India, a little bit more structure was shared about how everything works and what classes you're taking. So if you want to read something, you want to refer to something, maybe even as you listen to this podcast, check out the Discover Darden blog. So we spent a lot of time in the first conversation talking about time commitment and how you're juggling school and life and work. You're a little bit further along here. You're now in the 5th month or so of the program. How is that going?
It's going good. I think in the past episode we discussed about how we were learning, for example, about optimizing our time spent on working on cases. For example, in this quarter, Bhavin and I, we are in the same learning team. It's just an informal learning team that we have somehow formed. And so right now the way we work, and I think it's a great way to work, is for every case there's a couple of case captains, something like that. So people that are going to really deep dive on the case. So the rest of us just have to read through the case, and then these two people that are in charge of the case explain and dissect the case for the other. So that's helping a lot. So and they put really great notes that we share in the learning team. So that's one thing that has changed, and for me it has made a big difference on the way that I approach the cases, and I feel much better prepared now for this quarter. I don't know if you will, you see, for you the same.
Yeah, so I agree with everything what Jonas said. With cases, accounting is now my strong suit. For example, I don't have a formal education in accounting, so those are some of the cases that I try to take on. as opposed to shying away from it, so I can actually learn something, and I'll team up with somebody, in my learning team, for example, Laura or Olivia, who are, we call them accounting experts, and they'll help us out, and which is a great thing because there is so much collaboration, so much teamwork going on, and you definitely feel like a part of a team and very well supported, and everybody in the team, has helped me. Just become a better add to my learning experience pretty much. In terms of time management, I thought I was doing pretty well until I had a baby boy. So I'm having to rethink some of the time management. But overall, it's definitely from the last podcast that we recorded, it's definitely gotten much better because as a team we're starting to understand each other, our strengths and weaknesses. And where we can complement each other, and also, utilizing some of the tools such as OneNote, much better than what I previously did, and also just getting better at understanding cases because we have some foundational knowledge, with the LR1 and a Q1, Q2.
The one thing that people talk about, talk with alumni or who graduate from the program, is that the program forces you to sort of accept what you're really good at and acknowledge maybe what you're less good at and seek out those people who can be helpful. I mean, you're just around people with so many different talents that you realize your own talents, but you also realize your blind spots. Is that sort of squared with your experience?
Like Bhavin said, for example, for me, I have an engineering background, so I'm good with numbers or understanding finance and accounting as well. But of course, we have experts on or CPAs, or I'm more like a quant, but we have also some poets within our team. So definitely. And the good thing is that as we complement each other on our strengths. You start. I mean, everybody's ready to help and ready to support your learning experience. And it's much more rich this way, just saying, okay, I'm not really good at this. Please, somebody can just help me on this, or we just complement each other.
Yeah, even during accounting cases and financial accounting or financial management cases, a lot of times in the class we'll have a question that can have 10 different answers based on whatever the question is asking. And it is great to hear different perspective. And sometimes, when you're talking about ethics, you can really and try to, you really learn a lot from your classmates because everybody has a unique perspective and they all come from different backgrounds. So what you may think, one may or may not do in one industry, may be totally acceptable in another. So from general management perspective, so I think it helps you really understand, just different industries, and from ethics perspective, you really get to understand the different, regulations and laws that one wouldn't think, to think of. Especially, you need to know all those because if you're going to be in a global company or even a local company or startup, the world is becoming more and more global. So you have to, keep in mind, are you a well-rounded leader? Because just knowing soft skills or just knowing the accounting or the finance is not enough. So I think some of these classes really kind of help us become a well-rounded leaders.
So you're here in quarter 3. So what classes are you taking right now?
We have finance. Corporate finance. We have accounting part 2, like the sequel. We also are continuing our action learning experience, which is, like I said before, like a method to solve problem in teams. And we also have a class on corporate communications, which is really, I'm very excited about that because I think it's one of, as I say, I think I understand numbers quite fast, but I think I have to work on my skills on communicating, and it's very important in today's world. Like, for example, today we were on a class discussing a letter of a CEO to the shareholders, and how do you need to tune the message to your audience, and the importance of of the purpose of the message and the way you deliver and the exact words and how to connect with your audience. And I think that's a really interesting class.
Yeah, and I have a background in consulting, so I always before coming to Darden, obviously I understand the message, how you deliver the message, the importance of it, but the management communication class just completely changed how I approach some of the communications now, and just obviously understanding your audience is important, but how you kind of draft that message and how you craft it, and the balance of data versus the language that you use. We really get to learn from actual cases, and by looking at different companies and how CEOs communicating to other CEOs, and as well as leaders in their organizations, as well as their employees. So it's been a great experience in that particular course.
So now that you're, I think we've established 30% of the way in, what's been the most surprising thing so far about the program? Something that's, maybe you didn't expect coming in, it's maybe a pleasant surprise, or just, sort of you remarked upon it like, man, that's been really interesting.
For me, I would say it's definitely, obviously I'm learning a lot from the content and that's being provided, be it case, be it directly from the professors, who are teaching these amazing courses. But for me, it's just the interaction, with my classmates during case discussions and after, just having a drink or having a dinner together. Just last night, to give you an example, we were talking with one of my classmates about him potentially starting a company, and those are the discussions you're having, and although I may not be an entrepreneur, I at least get a window into his world, right? So it just helps me connect more with what's going on and in the outside world. And if I wasn't in this program, I would never even know to think some of the things one need to think of, if you're in a startup company. So it just the more for me, the better. And by just surrounding myself with other talented individuals, definitely helps me just be a better leader.
So how about you, Jonas?
Well, I would like to mention the powerful connections that we're making here in Darden, and the quality of the cohort and everybody's. But also, I think one thing that is really, really amazing, how fast you can apply what you learn here, not only in your work, but also the way it changes, like the lens that you see, like the world, like in terms of like economics or finance, for example. It's sometimes just simple things like now reading the Wall Street Journal is a complete different experience for me, or just looking at the news or it really gives you more tools and more like abilities to understand and really digest the news and understand business models, and that not only applies to your career and your job, but also to your personal life and the way you relate to the world.
I'll add one more thing to that, is that I just thought of that is, understanding financial statements. To me, coming into the program, this was one of the things that I really wanted to learn is because in the past I had colleagues who really understood this well, and I could never speak the jargon or could never understand it. And now I'm getting to a point where I can look at the income statement or a balance sheet or a statement of cash flow and be able to really understand a company and what they're doing. So for me, that's like I'm very surprised at how far I've come in a few short months.
So I'm sure there's been highlights all along through its first 5 months or so. But when reflecting back on the experience so far, obviously we talked a little bit about what's been surprising. What's like one memory that you have? Maybe it was a case you read, a discussion that you had that really stands out for you as like, gosh, this is one of the reasons why I'm excited I came to Darden.
I'll let Bhavin answer first.
Well, I'll mention that in the leading organization case, which was delivered in Brazil, besides the amazing location, the one thing really resonated with me, and it was almost thought-provoking, was one of the cases we discussed, and we were just talking about a firehouse scenario, and without getting into too much detail, the overall high-level thought process is, when you're working, and developing your team, how there are two different ways to really establish, patterns of communication in a like a firefight mode as opposed to a training mode. And to the listeners, that you may not make complete sense, but it was, to me, it was just one of those cases where, like, when you read through it and you have the discussion, and 2-hour discussion with your classmates, it really makes you wonder about some of the things and how you can better communicate, and just some of the blind spots that you have as a leader, that one needs to think of. And the other thing is, there was another case which talked about building, how much time you're spending building your network as opposed to how much time you're spending at work just doing the work. So, just looking at that balance, to me, that's a very subtle thing, but it can have a profound impact long-term in your career.
Yeah, how about you, Jonas?
I think that I've been thinking about it. I think it was a moment in Leader LO, same course, and it was one of these aha moments that you feel strongly identified with the case and what's going on, and in this, well, I don't want also to talk much about it, but it basically, the message is that you need to drop your tools when you advance to a new management role. You need to somehow let or train somebody to take your previous role and then start learning your new role, your new responsibilities. Because I felt identified in my career that sometimes I was evolving to a new role or a new management position, but I was somehow still into I didn't want to just drop my previous responsibilities because I didn't trust that they were. And I wanted to be. I was very personal, and I know I felt like, okay, this is something that I can really apply tomorrow when I'm back in my job, and really I need to work on this because I think it's going to be positive for my career.
Yeah, that move from technician to manager can be really challenging, right? I think all of us have struggled with that at some point in our career where, you were really in it, in the weeds and working on it, and all of a sudden you're now supposed to be watching a team or overseeing a team and helping them deal with those kind of problems from that supervisory level. It's hard to let go sometimes and sort of become that new role, new kind of leader.
Yeah, it's this resistance to change that we all have, and because sometimes when you take that step, you're very good at what you are already, but you need to say no, now I'm moving to a new position, to a new responsibility, so I'll need to drop my tools or make sure that who is in charge now of this, my past responsibilities, and knows how to do it. So invest on training, on leave a legacy, but you need to focus on what's new and to focus on growing.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, this idea of you become senior at one thing, but junior at another thing. You're growing, starting all over in some ways. So, Bhavin, does that resonate with you in terms of your career progression?
Absolutely, and I, as Jonas mentioned, dropping your tools, along the same lines. When I make that transition, one day to, let's say, director level position, knowing what I know now, it just helps me. Because one can get into very, deep, I don't want to say micromanager role, but sometimes it's very tough for people to leave things behind in terms of letting the people who are in your team do what they're hired to do, and you feel like you have to pretty much manage everything. But going through the LL course and some of the other courses, just learn specific tools that we have at our disposal to better communicate, better empower our leaders and our team members to be a leader, because you can't be same place at all times. So how can you empower others? How can you develop that relationship and have a trust in your team that they will carry you through? And just like Jonas said, kind of like leave a legacy behind.
So we'll have you back on the show, obviously, to talk more about how things are going. Before we sign off here, any last words for our listeners? Anything you'd like to share with them?
Yeah, I mean, I know some of the things that we talked about, it may feel like that we were, being too specific or not be too specific, and there's a reason for that. So I apologize for that. But overall, it's been a great experience so far. Third of the way through, and looking forward to our next residency, which is happening in the next 2 months. So we'll be going to China and Europe in summer. So looking forward to that and some of the other exciting courses that are coming our way.
Yeah, that's right. So Jonas, you'll be on that India trip. So you got a few global residencies, and we'll get to see you all again in February for your weekend. So how about you? Any last words, Jonas?
Yeah, I would like to close just encouraging everybody, all the potential students thinking about applying to Darden, to come here to our to Roslyn, to come for a class and visit, because we can talk here for hours, but the only way to live an experience what Darden is to come here and sit down for a class and feel the case methodology and the role playing and what really is to spend some time here with us. And we are always welcoming students and potential students, and just come and meet us. And I think it's a great experience.
Yeah, we are huge fans of encouraging people to come for a class visit. I think it's a fantastic way to experience firsthand the culture of the program, right? The learning experience, certainly case method. I know that can feel abstract to people. What is it? What does it mean? Sitting in on a class, observing a class is a great way to make it less abstract. You get to talk with current students, maybe even have lunch with current students. I don't know about y'all, but free lunch has always been good for me.
And the catering is great. So
yeah, that's right. Snacks, you can gain some weight in this program. We've been joking about that. So hopefully, listen to Jonas, listen to Bhavin here. Come for a class visit. It's a great way to experience the program. And we're recording this in January, so if you're sitting at home wondering about an application, great time to apply. This is really peak season for us, January, February, March, April. Still plenty of space in the class, plenty of opportunities to apply. Deadline's coming up essentially the 10th of every month, and we'll go until the class is full. So Jonas, Bhavin, thank you so much. We always appreciate you taking time out of what's a very busy residency for you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brett. I always love doing these, so pleasure is mine. Thank you.
And that was my conversation with Jonas Porcar-Ferrer and Bhavin Patel, 2 students in our class of 2020. So, as always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, anything you'd like for us to cover here on the podcast, we're all ears. We can be reached at exec, that's EXEC, MBA at darden.virginia.edu. Until next time, thanks for listening.